Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. As Malaysia marks its 61st Malaysia Day on September 16th, the nation reflects on its journey of unity, diversity and progress. Now, it's a country known for its rich multicultural fabric. Malaysia has navigated through decades of social, economic and political challenges to establish itself as a regional leader in Southeast Asia. Today, its global influence extends from economic reforms to humanitarian efforts, environmental sustainability and technological innovation. Today we look at Malaysia's evolving role on the world stage. Anas Hayyan, an analyst at ASLI, joins me. Anas, thank you so much for doing this. Now, I'd like to begin here with the success of the Madani government in maintaining a unity government. It's been a tough one for them. How do you think the nation's political stability can serve as a model for developing democracies around the world? Anas?
Thank you so much, Gerard and BERNAMA, for the invitation. The unity government is approaching its second year mark soon, and what we can see is that the government is currently very stable and has achieved various economic, investment and reform successes, which has placed Malaysia as a top destination regionally. The stability we enjoy comes from the legitimacy of support from members of parliament, and it's also followed through via support from the civil service, private sector, NGOs and CSOs. And the Balinese approach can be seen as a whole of society and government, and it's working very, very well. Comparatively, if we could see what is happening within the region, if we look closer to our neighbors, for example, in Thailand, after a political crisis from the previous general elections, they were able to appoint a prime minister, Srettha Thavisin, but just after a year, less than a year, he was removed by the Supreme Court, and now with the new PM, their journey restarts. So what we can learn from these experiences are, number one, I think political stability is crucial for a nation's development and, of course, to carry out important reforms. And number two, there needs to also be check and balance within a stable government. Accountability, good governance, and transparency would be important. And number three, something that's very, very important is effective leadership. A leader's ability to maintain credibility, and of course, to handle diplomatic challenges plays a very big role, I think, in stability and direction of the government. And PMX has shown himself to be adept to this.
Right. While you're saying that, also let's not forget there was a time we kept changing prime ministers, and if it's not for the royal institution or the Majlis Raja-Raja, we would have seen problems of that nature too. Now, moving along, how does Malaysia's experience in promoting unity among diverse ethnic groups offer lessons for other countries facing racial and religious tensions? And given what we're seeing in Malaysia right now with so many conversations rife within social media, do you think we should be giving lessons also? This is just something which came in as a thought while I'm asking you this question, which we have already wrote out for you.
Thank you so much, Gerard. I think that's a very important question, looking at the context now, because Malaysia's journey as a multiracial nation teaches us many lessons about unity. While tensions occasionally surface, as you mentioned, the overarching goal has always been to forge cohesive society and to prioritize peace and prosperity. We've built this over many years, thanks to the leadership of our forefather. Thankfully, we also buy our food, sport, and our love for public holidays. But more importantly, as a Muslim majority nation, the people would also have to come back to the foundation, in which in the Quran, Surah Hujurat, verse 13, it was mentioned that God has created you into male and female, and from different tribes, so that you may know one another. And it is our leaders who must bring us together. So what we see around the world is that, for example, in the UK, as you mentioned, Gerard, the riot tension was fueled by misinformation and disinformation through social media. So what we can see is that sometimes it does not really come from within, but it comes from people who intentionally want to fuel tension with fake news. Hence, I think what is important is for us to have a strong justice system, also education, and of course, exposure for our children and society to understand each other's races and religions, and of course, to foster dialogue. And again, a strong leadership for us to ensure that the social fabric remains peaceful.
I mean, I'd like to, at this point, also point out what Edin Khoo said a while ago. He said sometimes, you know, when it comes to political conversations, we have Forrest Gumping from left to right, and sometimes it becomes a problem. But having said that, Malaysia has recently made strides in economic reforms. I mean, as bad as we are at having conversations, sometimes we're really good at pushing the country forward, especially economically. Now, how do you see these reforms positioning the country on a global stage?
Thank you so much, Gerard. I think we are doing really good. We have propelled ourselves to be a more prominent figure in the stage globally. The numbers can speak for themselves. For example, our GDP growth has recently hit 5.9%, which has exceeded forecasts by analysts, and of course underscores the dynamic growth that we are currently experiencing. Additionally, we always say things about our ringgit, and now it has reached 28-month high against the US dollar. And another significant point that I want to make today is that record level of direct investments that we have attracted. For example, the investment by AWS, where they committed 29.2 billion to Malaysia. This is part, I think, of a broader trend where we have become a hub for data centers, investment, and semiconductor industry. And truly, we are the top of the town in tech circles globally. And to capitalize on this momentum, this is very important, is our focus now must be to enhance our global image as a business-friendly destination. So this means that we have to maintain an open channel of communications, ensure transparent policies, and to continue foster an environment that welcomes investors and support businesses effectively. And I think this way, Malaysia not only participates in the global economy, but more importantly, is we have a hand in shaping it, Gerard.
Anas, once again, I'd like to thank you for doing this. Now, this is a very important part of the set of questions we have for you, and it's a very exciting part for us because as we, or Malaysia, prepares for its ASEAN chairmanship in 2025, how do you see its influence expanding in Southeast Asia and maybe a little bit beyond Southeast Asia?
Thank you so much, Gerard. It's an exciting time for Malaysia next year. And of course, as the chairman of ASEAN, we would have the responsibility to set the trajectory for ASEAN next year. On one hand, we must show leadership in ongoing issues, such as the dispute in the South China Sea and the Myanmar crisis. But on the other hand, this is Malaysia's opportunity to expand crucial conversations, including sustainability, energy transitions, planetary health, and Asian financial institutions and more. And therefore, it is a big responsibility to set the goal of the chairmanship and, of course, to strengthen the bloc. Number two, we must be cognizant that many new leaders in ASEAN, like in Thailand, Indonesia, and of course Singapore, would have been less than a year into their roles. They are very new leaders in their position, and therefore, I think Prime Minister Anwar plays a role as one of the senior leaders within ASEAN and as the chairman, and this would create an opportunity for new innovations and collaboration to take place. We can also see that I think PM Anwar has taken a measure to inform other world leaders about the Malaysian chairmanship in his visits abroad, even recently in Vladivostok. And this is very important, which is the branding and to promote our chairmanship globally. And therefore, what I can say is that Malaysia must ensure that this chairmanship must be able to galvanize support and chart a new future for ASEAN. And lastly, to showcase regional and also global leadership from Malaysia to the world.
Right. Anas, we've got a few minutes more. Very quickly, I'd like to pick your brain on this. What do you think the country's contributions to global peacekeeping efforts and international diplomacy have been, and what more can be done?
I really love this question, Gerard, because Malaysia has always shown solidarity to the global community who are in need. And recently, we took in wounded Palestinians to treat them in Malaysia. Last year, we sent our SMART team to Turkey to help with the rescue mission after an earthquake disaster that happened. And another fun fact that I would like to highlight today, I really like that, we have sent over 38 peacekeeping operations since 1960 and around 40,000 troops from ATM and PDRM. We're also number 20 in terms of troop contributions to the United Nations now. And what I want to prove here is that Malaysia has always been known to be a country that does not hesitate to assist the global community. We do not only voice our concerns, for example, in the genocide in Gaza, but we also show our solidarity to those in need. I think it's very important, Gerard, that we have this kind of solidarity because we would never know what kind of assistance that we would need from other countries. And what can we improve in Malaysia is that we shouldn't make this an issue. When we help other nations, it is a part of global solidarity that is very crucial, and Malaysia needs to continue playing this role.
Right, Anas, we've run out of time. We'd like to thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule to join us right here on BERNAMA World. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, Anas.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anas Hayyan, Analyst, Asian Strategy and Leadership Institute, better known as ASLI to a lot of us here in Malaysia. It's time for another quick break. I'll be back with more updates. This is The World on BERNAMA TV. Stay with us.